important to talk about, so I'm gonna make this as brief as possible. And I'm gonna tell you why it matters to you. Just give me 1 second while this ambulance or whatever it is passes by, and then I'll get right back to you guys. Give me 2 seconds. It's kind of a loud ambulance right now. All right, we're good. So if you guys are just joining in, or when you join in, or whatever, you watch this on the rebroadcast, Donald Trump was actually removed from Twitter today. And I'm going to tell you why that is important and why this discussion of NDAs is so important. I have been on Facebook, and before I was on Facebook, I was on MySpace for probably a good 3 years, all right? And when I was on MySpace, it was kind of like a PG-rated environment because everybody really hadn't gotten into like the real statements of what social media was, I guess, at that time. And that's understandable, I get it. Somewhere along the way, social media started being used to do many of different things. And many of those things include mass shootings that were happening at a rapid sensation before COVID-19 struck. I think the reason that those stopped was because gatherings that we used to have at the propulsion we used to have ceased to exist during COVID-19. Today, Donald Trump was removed from Twitter permanently, which leaves him with his POTUS page. Now, his POTUS is President of the United States. That's what the acronym is. And you had people as a such of, I believe Barack Obama had both his constituencies. Once that page and the constituency is ended of that president, then it's archived, and then the next person or the next president, which will be Biden, picks up on that POTUS page. That POTUS page is basically used by staff and staffers of Donald Trump's administration to, confirm things, make things accurate, whatever the case may be. That is the only page that he has right now that Twitter has decided that he can use. Now, this is where this matters for you. How many times have any of y'all been online and heard people say the most audacious things to one another and to other people, threaten people, tell people what they're going to do to them, blah, 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 which happens to be the case with me and many other bloggers? How many times have you heard that? How many times have you had somebody threaten you online? How many times have you had somebody tell you what they're going to do to you, how they're going to damage you or damage your family or whatever, online? And for most of y'all, it'll be multiple times. And as you notice, if you report that person, a lot of times they end up staying on the page. If you block that person, sometimes they'll make up a fake account and start following you again. Many of the YouTubers, many of the people on Facebook, many of the people on Instagram, many of them are conspiracy theorists, if you want to say. These are the people that need to be removed from Twitter. How come you didn't try this Twitter lockdown when you had mass shootings happening all across the country prior to COVID-19? See, social media, and one thing I agree with the president on, of many things, but one thing I definitely agree with him on is the NDAs that most of these social media sites have. They're putting them in a position where they're gods. And they're gods because we utilize their services for free in most cases. If you start a YouTube account, it's for free. YouTube owns all the footage that you put up there. If you start any other account, it's for free. I'm gonna get to the point what I'm saying here. If you don't want to hear what I have to say, then log on. This is not in defense. This is bigger than Donald Trump. This circulates down to you. It circulates down to people that have regular YouTube channels, and they've been told. We saw a couple months ago Alex Jones. Many of y'all don't remember Alex Jones. Alex Jones was on YouTube like nobody's other, selling the snake oils and everything else. And finally, YouTube did the same action as you saw with Donald Trump today, and they removed him. Now, I'm one to say a lot of things that Alex Jones had to say were accurate. A lot of things Alex Jones had to say were a preponderance. In fact, I'm even go as far as to say many of the things that Alex Jones said have come to fruition. Many of the things he said. Now that even that he's off of YouTube officially, he still has other people to carry and cater to his channel. So Donald Trump, I'm gonna tell you what I'm gonna tell you. You old Queens boy. So I'm gonna tell you like we'll tell you here in the city. Listen up quick, all right? Because I'm only gonna say this one time to you. Don't worry about Twitter. What you need to do is you need to go over to Patreon. Once you're over at Patreon, you won't be surmised by what you can say, how you say it, when you say it, and take every last one of those followers and put a tweet through the FOTUS site with a link to that Patreon account. Now, if people want to contribute to you or whatever the case may be, that's fine. But if in that ecosphere, it's different than Twitter. It's different than many of the other ones that Mark Zuckerberg owns, which include Instagram and Facebook and other agencies of social media. Go to Patreon, President Trump, and there you'll find an area where you can say what you want to, you can do what you want to, and you won't be restricted. And I'm willing to believe that of those millions of followers that you have, they'll go right over there. And I'm going to tell you guys, if you're a regular blogger like myself, or you're just someone that's just purely just don't want to be in a space anymore on social media where you're confined to what you can say. Now, I'm not saying get on these websites and talk about violence and incite violence, because the reason they took Donald Trump down was because they said that he had made a tweet today that might incite another riot to happen at the Capitol. And I'm here to argue that. I think a segment, because, and if you really want to take it in contention, let's go back. Abraham Lincoln was killed by a man who at one time was a fellow Republican. Shock you? I'll say one more time. John Wilkes Booth was formerly a Republican supporter for a moment. Now, we're coming out of the times when Republicans were abolitionists mostly. Not the disdain that they have within that party nowadays, where you have so many conservative and this Republican and that Republican. It was a very stalemate party at that time. We fast forward, we see all throughout history where people that have supported, the only thing we're deducing is social media. So keep that in mind. We're just deducing social media out of the ecosphere right here. And we're talking about specifically people cannoning messages, doing violence, and everything else. And all throughout history, whether it's Nixon, whether it's the Weather Underground, whether it's Jimmy Carter, whether it was President Reagan and his attempt on his life, whether it was George Bush and the Contra deal, where everybody, George Bush Sr. I'm talking about, when everybody, there's always been a preponderance of violence within political parties, either side, and in between the Green parties and other parties. We've seen this on the news, and we've seen this many other places. The problem is, there is a selective bunch of people that feel that Donald Trump is so much of a threat to them, and I get it. Contesting the election, I understand. But at the same time, there's a possibility of what if you find out later on that the presidency was actually stolen from him? What happens then? I also bring up to people a lot of times, and I said it right here in front of this building before, what happens if Donald Trump was right? What happens if Biden gets into office and starts doing everything except what he said he was going to do? At that point, when you turn around and say, oh my God, what have we done? What if Joe Biden at his age right now passes away during his middle of his constituency and Kamala Harris, with her record, becomes president? The problem is with many people that are in this new political plight out in America is that majority of them don't ask the hard-earned questions. A lot of them just live in the moment. A lot of them don't pay attention to what the actual language is and what they're speaking about and what they're advocating. And more importantly enough, most of the people that are advocating against Donald Trump do not even realize, hey, maybe he's got a point. I saw everybody jump on Donald Trump's side when he first started advocating for those $2,000 checks. And being a person that's had Lynn Patton, shout out to Lynn Patton, shout out to Ben Carson. Both of them have liked Instagram posts of mine when I was doing my Instagram lives on there. So I have to say salute to both of y'all, especially Lynn Patton. She's a nice woman. You know, I don't know her politics that deep, but as you notice, and if anybody's following me on Instagram, you will see a litany of different people from that constituency and outside of that constituency. And in fact, I had someone, I took a screenshot of it and put it in the community section, where I had said something about a year, I'm gonna say a year, 2 months ago. And I said at that time, I said, yo, you know what? They're gonna snatch that presidency from him because they don't want him in there that bad. You have to start thinking America first. Not this Utilitarian belief system that, well, everybody's equal, everybody's welcome here, blah, 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 blah. I can name you several countries right now, and this is coming from someone whose family was very heavily in the military divisions of all branches, grew up around. Every last one of my uncles was in the military. I've said this many of times. I've had one of my uncles on my live before talking about the military. Right now, we look weak as a country. I don't care what nobody says. A lot of people sit back and argue that, no, we don't, no, we don't. Yes, you do. Compared to what's happening to other countries with Justin Trudeau and Canada offering their citizens for the past 7 months $2,000 a month. Yes, you heard me right. If you don't believe me, look that up for yourself. All the way down to many other different countries that have taken care of their citizens. But this right here, quote unquote, the greatest country in the world, has not. England, you don't fall far behind in the same shame. Only thing I'll give you the Constitution for is you had the gumption to shut down for a second time, which is smart, and I think it needs to happen here in America. At least for a good month and a half. There are too many people out having fun. There are too many people out walking around with no mask. I just had a guy walk up on me out of nowhere with no mask on, asking me questions like there was nothing going on. Brother, I said, brother, get away from me. And then he persisted to have a conversation with me, and I had to tell him again, brother, get away from me. There's a lot of people out here that have set a precedence over political situations outside of what's really going on, which is right now in this virus pandemic environment that we're living in. The reason that I'm here talking about Donald Trump and Twitter is because we're talking about influence. Influence, that's the word we're looking for here to describe this. We're looking at the word influence. And yes, Donald Trump has influence, but he doesn't have influence over those wild, crazy wackos who he condemned, his press secretary condemned, and I'm pretty sure he didn't call them there. But you have a lot of conspiracy theorists that are out there that are saying right now, he sent those people over. How do you know that? How do you know that? And why would he do that? What benefit as it is for him to do that? To have them storm the Capitol building? I want someone to tell me that. And no one's told me that yet. So that's why I think, and this is a far-fetched, but I'm going to do my own conspiracy theory here. What if it was somebody from the Democratic Party that sent those people over there? What if that happened? Or what if there was a special interest group that said, you know what, just like Antifa, let's go over there and start some ruckus. Because we all remember when Antifa this while ago, they somehow worked their way into Black Lives Matter. Remember that? And ironically enough, what do you see right here in front of Trump Tower? Black Lives Matter. This world's been destroyed 2 times, including one time by a black woman and one time when I was here by a white gentleman who first did it the first time. This was Antifa that somehow took the banner of Black Lives Matter and intersected themselves into that. The same Antifa, okay? The same Antifa who was stopped by CNN, was stopped by MSNBC, was stopped by Fox, and people individually on YouTube channels themselves and asked these protesters, how come there's no black people out here marching with y'all? And I swear to God, if you look up this footage right now, you will see the same thing that I see. These Antifa members couldn't give an answer. That's why you saw the presence of the people that you saw out there when they were doing what they were doing. These were people hiding behind Black Lives Matter. So if you ask me theoretically, why would I say something like that? I said I would say it. It comes mighty funny to me that Nancy Pelosi, who was last offered $1.2 million out of the $1.9 that she was asking for, was somehow or another She's asking for his impeachment with 10 days left. See, so this is not about political means. This is about her legacy. And in many facts, I think it's about Mitch McConnell's legacy as well. And I'm here to tell all of you, and I'll tell you one time and one time only. You might be getting fooled. Exactly, police would have shot him. You a fool, bro. Uh-oh, we got some. He said it at his rally, bro. He said what at his rally? What did he say at his rally? Come on, quote me. Tell me what he said at his rally. I'm gonna show y'all the difference between hearsay and actual facts. So I want you to write in there. Tell me exactly what he said word for word, and I want you to quote him verbatim. All right, I'll give you a few minutes. I'm gonna be here. I guarantee that person that's saying that won't be able to quote me anything. Matter of fact, I want you to do me one other favor. I want you to go and look up and find a quote where Donald Trump said something negative about black people. See, you taking it like I'm defending Donald Trump, but no. What I'm trying to tell you is the same Democratic Party at one time who said the Democratic Party is for the white man. So you don't know your history. That's the problem. And I'm not saying that Joe Biden's a bad guy necessarily, and I'm not trying to say Kamala Harris is a good woman. What I'm trying to tell you is this. There's a possibility that you may have been duped. And those people that rushed the Capitol building did that independently. You understand what I'm saying? Just like we've had other people from the Democratic Party that have done things, and they run it back to they did it in the name of this president or that president, all throughout history. And if y'all heard of the Weather Underground, look up what they did. So we're talking about history here. We're not talking about what side of the political party I'm on. I've already told you I played a part of neutrality. If you paid attention to all my lives instead of just saying what you wanted to say because you want to contest something, then we would have something going on. Let's see what this one said. The Republican Party originally was for us. Thank you very much. There's a picture. I want you guys to hit images on Google. And I want you to just put in this. The Democratic Party is for the white man. The Republican Party is for the Negro. Put that in your Google and tell me what comes up in images. I'll tell you already before you even look at it. It's going to be a litany of different pictures and banners and stickers and all kinds of namesakes and keeps, including some of those that got the mammy imagery, the Sambo imagery, and they were all part of the Democratic Party. All part of the Democratic Party. I am still waiting for Yankee Rain to tell me that quote, and he hasn't. So what even more pushes me to tell you is, people like Yankee Rain right there, I'm glad you said something. Those are the people that are provoking that type of behavior. You understand what I'm saying? People like Yankee Rain are promoting that type of behavior. And they promote that behavior within the culture, and I'm tired of it. I'm tired of it. There's no reason for it. When you're not sitting out there and you're not even helping your own people, but you got an opinion about anything that happens politically in the world that you don't belong in, most of you anyway, then where is your, I don't understand. Somebody help me understand. Somebody educate. I don't want none of the riffraff giving their opinions. I want somebody educated that knows actually about politics, actually went to college, to tell me where does that make sense. I'll leave it to you guys in the comment section. I'm sorry, this little impromptu live, if you want to say. There's a lot less people in here than I usually have, but I wanted to talk about that because I thought it was peculiar. That Twitter would ban Donald Trump, but they won't ban people on there talking about they're going to shoot regular individuals. They won't ban people on there talking to 13-year-old girls. They won't ban people on there putting up pictures of themselves naked with the genitals out and everything else. They won't ban that. You understand what I'm saying? Do y'all get what I'm saying? How many times have you went on social media and you seen a young girl on there naked, you report it, I know I have, and nothing happens? How many times have you had somebody come to your YouTube page, a lot of you YouTubers come to your page and report somebody and nothing happens? Hey, what's going on? Don't need no man, stop telling me I do, okay? How many times has that happened to any of y'all? I want to answer that question. So if you think that Donald Trump, if this ends with Donald Trump, you're a fool. This is going to extend to more and more people, because now the ideology is If we can block the damn president, we can block anybody. So now they're going to turn up on you. You understand what I'm saying? So anybody that's out there and quote unquote the truth telling, or anybody that's out there that says something that's not in the guidelines of what Twitter friendly political angle is, because it seems like Twitter has a political angle even though they don't admit it, the administration of Twitter anyway. What are you going to do when that happens? See, I try to preempt y'all and get y'all ready for things, and sometimes y'all just don't get it. Then after it happens, you're like, oh, you know what, you was right. Now, how many times has that happened now? In the past month, I can count 7 times I said something. I talked about the rappers, not even a day later, 2 more get killed. I talked about the NDAs. Next thing you know, that was omitted from the bill. I talked about freaking social media before and how it's being used as a play for all types of different people out there, including child molesters, rapists, and everybody else. How come there's not a ban on that shit? How come there's not a ban that you can't be a 13 or 14 or 15-year-old girl on my Instagram or just in the Instagram ecosphere and putting up nude pictures of yourself, and when I report it, nothing happens. But y'all banned Donald Trump. Y'all gotta make sense of this. There are sex traffickers on Twitter, okay? There are people that are terrorists. What was the terrorist they caught that was on Twitter? What was the terrorist they caught that was on Twitter that was trying to recruit people for Al-Qaeda? Y'all remember that? They ban and they put in position whoever they want to. And what I'm trying to tell you guys is, if they ban Donald Trump, they'll ban your black ass too. Or white, or Asian, or Puerto Rican. This is about your right to speak. That's what NDAs are. So I'm not up here defending Donald Trump. Oh, no. I'm out here telling you something that all of you should know. And that's that there is going to be an onslaught and attack from the managers and operators of these social media sites. And you're going to see it more and more and more, to the point that you can't say what you want to say for fear that somebody is going to eradicate and ban you as well as an individual and a normal citizen. That's the point. So let's take Donald Trump out of the equation. I'm just using his as an example of saying to you, if there's someone as the president can get banned from Twitter permanently, then you can too. And that's why you should pay attention, because now the ramp is going to be up. Every manager and owner of these social media sites is going to look at the fact that someone banned the president, and now social media is going to take a turn from 2021 on. Because in the mind of the average, it's saying, well, if we can ban the president, we can get anybody. So who's the next? You saw it too, huh? It is what it is. Guys, I'm gonna get out of this cold. I just want to talk about that. I don't get too political too much, but when I see something that's some BS, I gotta talk about it. And I was like, I saw that come through my phone. I was up here by the neighborhood and I said, yo, let me stop by the tower and talk about this, because this is not just about Donald Trump. This is about social media and what they plan on doing with social media in the future. And it seems like what they plan on doing in the future is banning regular citizens. This is just a statement and a stepping stone for what they plan on doing. Have you not seen Mark Zuckerberg do congressional hearings about his behavior of his company? He owns both Instagram and Facebook. So I'm gonna say one more time, Donald Trump, what you need to do is you need to go on to Patreon. Go on over to Patreon and you will not have those parameters. All right? Now I'm gonna tag you in this like I always do. I'm gonna tag Lynn in and I'm gonna tag Big Carson's in it. And hopefully y'all hear what I'm saying, because I'm pretty sure you're gonna run again in 2024. I don't see why you shouldn't. I think Joe Biden will be 108 then. Excuse me, Joe Biden will be 107. At that time, when you do run, I want you to know, do not start your platform off on regular social media. Start it off on Patreon. And that goes for a lot of other ones of y'all out there too. Start it out on Patreon. Now I'm gonna talk to you like a New Yorker, because you're a Queens boy. And if any of y'all don't know, y'all ever seen the movie Belly? Y'all remember that place where Ox lived at, Jamaica Estates? That's what Donald Trump grew up at in Queens. Let me say this as plain as I can. Listen, guy, you're messing up here. Go over to Patreon, get the fuck out of there with those wackos over at Twitter. You should have been going out of there. And get your message heard there. Get all those followers via your photos page. Have the staff put the what's the name out there, and get all those followers to circumnavigate and come to Patreon. I guarantee it'll work for you. Because like I said, I'm trying to make the transition for many of people of being in this censored world on social media where you're censored, where the people that own these social media places sit there and they laugh and minstrel about everything. But more importantly, they're trying to censor you and what you may have to say. So like I said, this is not necessarily for Donald Trump. Oh, I got some people that want to be on camera. Let's put them on camera. Guys, can you wave? Say hi. Some people think walking past here, sticking up their middle finger is going to change things. It doesn't change anything. I see these guys ride past here all slow, like they got a bomb in the car, walk by, sticking up the middle fingers and everything like that. That's not how you make change. That's not how you make change at all. Guys, I'm out of here. Links are in the description. Trump, take your ass on over there to Patreon. All right? And you won't have to worry about none of that. Don't even argue with them no more. And have your staff seek out more websites that are like Patreon, so that way you won't be compromised to certain parameters. You understand what I'm saying here? And other than that, guys, I'm out of here. I will see you a little bit later when I go live on my real lives. Please check the community section to find out when I go live. All right, other than that, guys, links in the description, PayPal and Cash App. You know the deal, donate if you can. Other than that, man, watch what you say on social media and be aware that I'm giving you a projection of my own, that soon as this turns up a little bit more, we're going to be in a whole world of trouble with you and I can say online. That's what this is a preemptive strike against. This is not defending anybody. So if you watch this all the way to the end and you have a little bit of intelligence in your mind, you'll know that. Later, guys.